Come to Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence for retirees looking for an ideal rental setting to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We offer bright 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, wellness and entertainment programs, all with a friendly community spirit on beautiful grounds. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
I'm Nick Morganelli. I'll introduce you to some deacons in our diocese that are parish administrators coming up.
I'm Steve Kiltonic at Pope Francis Preparatory School, where a fallen Marine veteran and Cathedral High alumnus was honored.
And Dan Dumas has the latest news from the Diocese of Springfield. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel as we begin Advent and a new liturgical year. Over the past few weeks, we have been featuring a lot on the permanent diaconate in the Catholic Church, as the diaconate in the United States this year marked its 50th anniversary. We often see the work of our deacons in our community serving seniors and youth or delivering a homily at Mass. But there's a lot done behind the scenes as well, especially when a deacon is asked to take on the role of parish administrator. Nick Morganelli introduces us now to two that answered that call.
Deacons. Some journey to priesthood, others are called to assist our priests. David Southworth and Sean Mulholland have similar roles as deacons, and their backgrounds are similar as well.
I was president of a paper manufacturing company, so I was used to organizing people. But the challenge is that the church is not a business. It has similar aspects. The basic principles are the same, so I think that helped prepare me to potentially be an administrator.
I'm a paper mill engineer, so that's a little bit different. I was supervisor of 120 tradesmen and 10 foremen, and had a maintenance budget of approximately $4 million a year. So I had experience working with people.
Deacon David is administrator at Holy Name of Jesus in Chicopee, and Deacon Sean takes care of business at Our Lady of the Valley in Sheffield. Both have dealt with closing and or merging of parishes, which of course means broken hearts to mend.
4 of the parishes were combined here into Holy Name, and that's always painful for people. At Holy Name of Jesus in Chicopee, there's a little bit of we're stuck until we can see the future. And it's a disappointment for the people not to have a resident priest. We have to bring in various priests that are available to do what only priests can do.
At Our Lady of the Valley, they are fortunate to have a priest minister, Father Peter Naranjo.
When this opportunity came up, and it seemed like a good thing, that, I could be here every weekend as their minister, basically, to do the masses for them. And any other sacraments, things like that, confession, visiting the homebound. And if we didn't have, capable deacons like Deacon Sean to be able to be an administrator, this parish might have been closed. It gives me the opportunity to have a place where I can get to know the people. It gets me so that as a chaplain at the hospital, I can be a parish priest on the weekends, and I can still participate, with the community in a parish.
As administrator, the parish budget needs to be balanced. With a small congregation, that takes creativity.
I'm a great delegator. My wife always refers to me as a salesman and a cheerleader. I seek out people that I think can do the job, and everybody's so friendly and willing to help. My head of finance is a businessman, and also the chairman of the pastoral council is a very experienced businessman, and he's also a great people guy. It's not me here. It's like a team. That's really what it is.
I've been Eucharistic minister for approximately 15 years now, and when Deacon and Donna came, they were, watching the budget, so they cut out the cleaning service, so I volunteer my time here cleaning the church. And on occasion, I become lector. So I share that duty with my husband and another gentleman here.
Deacon Sean shares his office with his wife of 49 years.
So this is what she got for her anniversary. And as a matter of fact, she is my secretary and my office manager, and works for a great price, which is free, which also helps the finances of the church. But no, things are good.
They are wonderful, wonderful people to have here. We're very blessed that they joined our church.
Our deacons have both joys and challenges when running a parish, and their days at times are dreary like today, but above those clouds, the sun is always shining.
I like working with people, and I'm not a great theologian. I've done a lot of hospital ministry and nursing home ministry, and this is an opportunity to work with people.
Nice to meet you. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Deacon Sean and David both agree that the parishioners and the relationship you build with them brings joy to their work.
We're really the people of God, and the people own this church and this parish. The fun part for me is trying to dig in and see how can we grow the church. How do we really attract youth? How do we put it together a wonderful high school program that kids want to come? How do we attract back people in their 20s and 30s, getting more involved in faith formation than I've ever been. That's been fun, and we've had some fun trying to figure out how to get parents more involved in the teaching of their children. The 7 o'clock Sunday night Mass is a real jewel here. They have this youth group that does the music, so we're hoping to build on that with more youth participation, high school, college age. It's kind of an upbeat music.
Let's say 5 years from now, where would you like to see the parish?
Love to see a high school program that's exciting, that high school kids choose to come to because it's engaging, exciting, and it's powerful, faith-based. Love to have more parents teaching their kids and more youth involvement.
Working with Deacon Sean is incredible, because I know that is everything when it comes down to, how a team works. We want to do a piece on your deacon, and I said to you, no, actually, I'm his priest, and I'm not sure a lot of people would be able to work out that kind of relationship, but he and I have worked it out wonderfully.
This model, I think, is something that is going to work very well for the diocese. And the priest can come in when he needs to do pastoral work, and when he can't, well, deacon can do pastoral work too.
When you see your parish deacon, let him know you are grateful for his good work. For Real to Real, I'm Nick Morganelli.
Administrator or not, we certainly are very thankful for the many good works that all the deacons do. And I think we all realize the true need we have in the church for more vocations. In fact, Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rosansky is calling upon all of us here in the Diocese of Springfield in a special way to mark a year for vocations beginning this weekend. Here to tell us more about it is Father Matthew Alcombright, Co-Vocations Director for the Diocese. Hello, Father Matt. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Father Matt, as we've just seen in the piece by Nick Morganelli, with deacons administering parishes, we really have a need for more vocations in our diocese, to the priesthood, the diaconate, women and men religious, and also both married and single lay people. Tell us about this effort on the part of the bishop to foster more vocations.
Well, this Year for Vocations is really an opportunity for the diocesan-wide community to really pray for and focus on an increase in all vocations within our church, whether that be the priesthood, the diaconate, religious life, married or single life, that we all have a responsibility to pray for and to encourage those that we may see have a vocation and may be called to follow the life of Christ in the church.
And what are some of the ways that the diocese will mark the year?
There's going to be many different ways. We are encouraging all parishes to promote vocations in whatever way really meets their parish needs. Some may feel as though, holy hours for vocations, rosaries for vocations, youth events, whatever the parishes in their pastors and the people decide is best for their particular areas. We've engaged in this campaign of prayer as a diocesan community with our diocesan prayer to be read and prayed for at all masses. But that praying for vocations and fostering vocations will be at the discretion of each parish community. However, the bishop has agreed to let us as a diocesan community celebrate two very important feast days for us. First, the feast of St. Michael the Archangel will be able to be celebrated to pray through our patron of the diocese for an increase in vocations. And also, Bishop has agreed to allow us to celebrate the feast of St. John Vianney on Sunday, August 4th. As a diocesan community, John Vianney is the patron saint of diocesan priests. So those will be two diocesan-wide efforts along with the common prayer that we will pray each week. But we are also leaving this up to the unique and creative responsibilities of each parish community. And any way that we can help in that, we are happy to do so.
And we will be highlighting many who have answered the call over the coming months right here on Real to Real. Thanks, Father Matt, for your insights, and continued best wishes to you and your Vocations Office co-director, Father Michael Wood.
Thank you very much.
And we should also mention that in recent years, parishioners have donated gift cards to seminarians during Advent, but the Vocations Office is now requesting donations to the newly reinstated Seminarian Fund for the Diocese of Springfield. Donations will allow the diocese to offer stipends to seminarians, helping them to defray their normal living expenses. Donations can be mailed to the Office of Vocations, P.O. Box 1730, Springfield, Massachusetts, 01102-1730. And still to come on Real to Real, Dan Dumas has the latest news from the Diocese of Springfield, and Pope Francis Preparatory School remembers one of its own. These stories and more are still to come on Real to Real.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm Passionist Brother Terrence Scanlon, inviting you to take time out of your busy day and join us Sunday morning. We welcome Bishop Mitchell Wrzanski, the ordinary of our diocese, as we celebrate the first Sunday of Advent. The Chalice of Salvation, Sunday morning at 10 on 22 News, and coming up next on Fox 23 WXXA.
Come to Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence for retirees looking for an ideal rental setting to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We offer bright 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, wellness and entertainment programs, all with a friendly community spirit on beautiful grounds. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Pope Francis Prep, Our Legacy Reimagined.
I'm Dan Dumas with your Real to Real News Briefs. Though Mater Della Rosa and Holy Cross parishes in Holyoke merged in 2011 to form Our Lady of the Cross Parish, parishioners there are keeping a special Mater Della Rosa tradition alive, honoring deceased loved ones. John Thornton reports.
Parishioners of Our Lady of the Cross Parish in Holyoke gathered at Mater Della Rosa Cemetery on Pittroff Avenue in South Hadley. They came together as part of a parish community tradition dating back at least 50 years. Conventual Franciscan Father Albert Shearer, pastor of Our Lady of the Cross, was there to lead a prayer service to honor the parishioners' deceased loved ones. Pauline Samasco, a parishioner of Our Lady of the Cross from Granby, has attended the cemetery service for many years.
Everybody is born with a spirit, and the spirit never dies. It's always there to draw from and to be enriched with. This is one of those ceremonies that brings that right to the reality of what's going on and how precious an event something like this is.
In 2011, the parishes of Mater Della Rosa and Holy Cross were merged as part of a diocesan-wide pastoral planning effort. The new parish was named Our Lady of the Cross. Some of the parishioners of Our Lady of the Cross Parish want to continue the traditions of Mater Della Rosa.
We felt it was important to keep some of the traditions alive, and this was a tradition that was very important to the parishioners, so we've managed to keep it part of the custom of Our Lady of the Cross Parish.
The parishioners first visited the graves of their loved ones. Afterwards, the group, led by Father Shearer, spent the afternoon walking the sunlit paths of Mater Della Rosa Cemetery, praying the rosary and singing songs, including Amazing Grace. The songs and prayers were a mixture of English and Polish, and most of the parishioners who attended are of Polish descent. Until a few years ago, the prayer service was spoken entirely in Polish.
It's a connection to what they've been doing for years, and it's a connection to their memories and their activities and their masses at Mater Della Rosa Church. Because we do it half and half, if somebody isn't Polish and they would still like to participate by having some of the prayers and songs in English, they certainly feel more a part of it.
Father Shearer said he and his parishioners hope to celebrate this tradition for many years to come, and hope that it will be passed on to the next generation. In South Hadley, I'm John Thornton.
Finally, we share one mission and vision as a diocese. This was the message given to diocesan educators during the annual In-Service Day at Pope Francis Preparatory School. Sharon Roulier has our story.
Working together to advance our mission was the topic of the keynote address offered by Daniel Balarjian, Superintendent of Catholic Schools for the Diocese of Springfield, speaking to more than 300 faculty and staff members from Catholic schools throughout Western Massachusetts.
We share one mission and one vision as a diocese, and so it's important for us to gather together just so we can make those connections.
The annual event is a chance for teachers and staff to network, socialize, and share. The day began with Mass celebrated by Springfield Bishop Mitchell Brzezinski. The superintendent said that Catholic school educators teach all that is true, good, and beautiful.
What I wanted to do today was to help them understand this piece, or these pieces that make us unique, that we believe that God exists, He is there, and therefore all of our activities, all of the things we do in a school should be directed back to Him.
The group received helpful tips on what they could take back to their schools to help them increase faith and be mindful of their Catholic identity.
I think that's the most important part of Catholic schools, is that we know our students and we're able to embrace God in everything that we do and everything that we teach them. So we not only teach to the subjects, but we teach to the whole child, and we really take time to know who they are and what their lives are about, and try to help them to prosper in their futures.
Jennifer Maston, principal of St. Mary's in Lee, said she was inspired by the sharing of ideas and knowing that all the schools in the diocese had the same mission.
We are one unit, even though we don't always feel like we are. We really are, and we need to come together more than once a year would be great, but at least once a year to celebrate that and really show our support for who we are and what we do for our kids in our schools every day.
There are currently 12 Catholic elementary schools and 2 Catholic high schools in the Diocese of Springfield, serving more than 2,900 students.
And remember, you can stay up to date on all the latest news in the Catholic Church locally and beyond by logging on to iobserve.org. There you can read articles written by our Catholic communications staff, as well as view archived episodes of Real to Real. That's iobserve.org. I'm Dan Dumas, and those were your Real to Real news briefs.
Each year on Veterans Day, we honor the men and women who have served our country. This year, Pope Francis Preparatory School remembered one of its own, a former Cathedral High School student who joined the Marines, fought in Iraq, but unfortunately met a tragic fate defending our country right here in the United States. Steve Kiltonic has the story of an American hero, Gunnery Sergeant Thomas J. Sullivan.
On July 16, 2015, Gunnery Sergeant Thomas J. Sullivan, a 1994 graduate of Cathedral High School and Springfield native, was killed during a terrorist attack on the Naval Reserve Center in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Sullivan, who grew up in East Forest Park not far from Cathedral, was one of 4 Marines killed and 3 wounded in the attack. Sullivan, an 18-year veteran, served in Iraq, where he earned 2 Purple Hearts for his heroism. On Veterans Day, November 12th, Sullivan was honored by Pope Francis Preparatory School with the dedication of the Gunnery Sergeant Thomas J. Sullivan Memorial Plaza. The plaza honors all alumni of the former Cathedral and Holyoke Catholic High Schools, which merged to form Pope Francis, which opened its doors this past September. Attending the event were students, faculty, and staff of Pope Francis, members of the Sullivan family, the campus chaplain, Father Mark Mengel, and Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno. The dedication was the culmination of a variety of programs and activities that took place earlier at the school in remembrance of Veterans Day, and included a guest panel of veteran speakers who shared their personal experiences with the students. The ceremony started with the Marine Color Guard presenting the colors. The Pope Francis Liturgical Choir then sang the national anthem and America the Beautiful. Freshman Sophia Roselli gave the opening prayer, and the head of school, Dr. Paul Harrington, introduced each speaker. After seniors Joe Salvin and Katie Booten presented a history of Veterans Day, the Sullivan Memorial Plaque was dedicated by Father Mengel. Springfield Mayor Sarno addressed the Sullivan family.
I know this was a tragic event, but you have allowed us to come into your home and become family. You've shared Tommy with us, so we can continue his legacy of service, humbleness, genuineness.
Jerry and Betty Sullivan, Tommy's parents, attended along with Tom's sister, Diane Karen, and the younger brother of Tommy, Joe Sullivan, who also is a vet and 1995 Cathedral High grad.
It's a beautiful new school, but it's the same land, it's the same spot that me, my sister, and my brother, Tommy, went to school. It's the same spot that he came back to year after year when he was home on leave. The students were important to him. He liked talking to them. He liked engaging them. He became a recruiter later on for a little while, and he was very proud to show off his uniform and tell all the good things of the Marine Corps.
Joe said Tommy was looking forward to retirement, although he sensed a sadness in his brother because his time in the military was almost over.
This is a very fitting tribute. It's hard to put into words how much this would mean to him, being at his former school, being honored in this way. This is the ultimate honor for him, I believe. this is a big one for him.
I think that my brother's faith was very important to him. School, community involvement, and his country were the most important things, along with his family. So to have this here just shows so much, and he would have been very proud of this. The honor that they've bestowed upon my family and my brother with this plaza just can't be repaid.
Dr. Harrington said there was a lot of discussion at the school about whether to open on Veterans Day.
It's something that really gets lost at times is in schools, to really truly honor veterans. And we thought, what better way to honor Gunnery Sergeant Sullivan and incorporate the true meaning of those that have served our country into the curriculum.
Before the dedication, Scott Gausen from the Springfield Armory spoke to the students about the Armory and its weapons production during World War I. Students also made poppies for the dedication in remembrance of the signing of the Armistice of November 11, 1918, which ended World War I 100 years ago. And sophomore Amy Booten recited In Flanders Field, a popular World War I poem.
Flanders fields, the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row. That mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly.
In addition to the plaza dedication, the Veterans Day event included the creation of World War I remembrance cards that were researched by students. Each student researched a local World War I veteran using the Library of Congress records. The remembrance cards included each vet's branch of service, military experience and engagements, civilian occupation, and a personal reflection. All the cards were displayed on a wall which featured a military shield drawn by students. Katie Booten chose to research a veteran mill worker from Chicopee, where she lives.
And one name kind of caught my eye. His name was Alexander Marshall. And I came back to his name just because he was so young when he died. And I don't know, that just kind of got to me. I think just the idea of like kids my age chose to enlist in the military, knowing fully, like what could come of that. And
Booten added that even though the Great War was fought over a century ago, students should not forget veterans' sacrifices.
It doesn't matter the time of the war, we're still in conflict today, still, people actively serving, dying and sacrificing for our country. So the message endures, regardless of the year of service. And I think, young people today need to maybe think about that a little bit harder, think about, what can I do for my country?
Katie has plans to pursue a career in the military, possibly doing intelligence work. Joe Salvin, who also has aspirations to serve, said Sullivan's death resonated with him.
But just to think that it's someone who was walking on these grounds as a student only 25 years ago, it's obviously a tragic event, but it definitely hits home with a lot of students. And I think now that the memorial's there, it's great that students now will get to see every morning just an example of another kind of service you can give to the world and especially to our country.
Nelson Serrao, one of the vets who spoke to students, served in the Gulf War as a C-5 pilot.
I'm glad that they had the kids out there. It gives them a perspective that, you're here one day, you could be gone the next day.
Oh, say does that star-spangled...
Gunnery Sergeant Thomas J. Sullivan paid the ultimate sacrifice. At Pope Francis, however, he will never be forgotten. For the school's students, parents, faculty, and future veterans, his name lives on whenever Americans' fallen heroes are mentioned or honored. For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
Brave.
And Steve says that the Sullivan family is partnering with the Greater Springfield Habitat for Humanity to build a home for military families in need. According to the Sullivans, the collaboration is intended to honor the memory and generous spirit of Gunnery Sergeant Sullivan. For more information on the home, we have a link at iobserve.org. And for this week, that's Real to Real. Thanks so much for joining us today. As always, for more updates anytime, as well as information and news on the Catholic Church in the Diocese of Springfield and around the world, head over to our news and information site, iobserve.org. Also, check out our Facebook page for daily updates on stories that our reporters are working on. Friend us at Catholic Communications. Join me next week for another edition of Real to Real, your window on the world around you, as we pay a visit to the newly renovated Holy Family Parish Church in South Deerfield. See you then.
Real to Real is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.